right, good morning, everybody. I already took my vitamins. They're right here. They're right here. Allergy, vitamin D3. We got sourdough toast with blackberry preserves, glass of freshly squeezed orange juice. Magnificent. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a very common question I've been getting recently, which is why did I decide to make the lifelong commitment to get on TRT at such a young age? Let me explain. Back in 2022, I made the decision to get on TRT. I went and got my blood work done and found out that my test levels as a 23-year-old man were, my total test was somewhere in the 300s and my free test was like 6, which if you're not unfamiliar, that's very low. Free test levels for a man in his 20s like that should be like 20 something, and total test should be like, 8 to 1100. So, I talked to a doctor, and he looked at the levels and basically said, something in your endocrine system is shot. Now, it's likely because when I was in college, I took a cycle of SARMs. I ran LGD 4033 that I ordered off the internet. It's like this. It's a liquid, it comes in a dropper, it's an oral thing, you just drop it in your mouth. It's like, I don't know. I can't remember exactly the dosage or anything like that. But basically I did that in college before spring break one year. And the doctors think that could be what has messed up my endocrine system and why my body's not making the right amount of hormones. And from this, it was decided that, hey, look, your options are, we can try these things over here, but he didn't think that it was gonna be like it was gonna give me it's gonna work as well as just getting on TRT. We talked about, okay, look, this is something you will be on for the rest of your life. You are gonna have to get blood work. You're gonna have to pay for the TRT, or you're gonna have to get blood work, 2 to 4 times a year. You're gonna have to pay for the TRT, like insurance isn't gonna cover this. Plus everything else, like, outside of the testosterone, the HCG, the Clomid, everything like that. And possible hair loss. There can be heart issues down the road, things like this. Now, I was like, look, for me, I make enough money to where the cost of this doesn't affect me at all. And I would rather live my life as somebody with optimal hormones. And here's the deal. It's not like the first time I ever injected TRT was, oh, I have to be on this for life. I was like, look, I'm gonna give this a shot and see if it's like that much better. So I got on TRT, and at about a month in, I could feel a difference. It was like, I pretty much turned my life around really hard once I started getting on TRT. Basically, once that started, I quit booze for 2 years because I was like, I need to get some shit together. I established the best gym routine in my life. I got my diet improved phenomenally. I started working way harder. And I was just way more excited for work. I was excited about the things that I was building, and getting out of bed every single day was just easy from then on. Is that because of the TRT? I'm not saying that, but this happened all around at the same time when I started TRT. So from being on TRT, I've noticed a huge difference. And it's funny because there's been a time when I had to cycle off TRT to get my fertility right. And I'll explain that in a second. And when I did that, I basically didn't cycle off it the right way, where I was supplementing with other things that were gonna help keep my test levels in check. And basically my test shot down to the hundreds. And it's crazy how shitty I felt, dude. That was a very shitty month of my life. It was I was tired all day long, didn't want to do anything, was just a zombie. But now I know how when I have to cycle off to take care of my fertility and things like that, I'll explain in a second. I know how to do it now to where it doesn't make me feel terrible. But essentially, when you're on TRT, especially at such a young age, because your body is getting these exogenous hormones, it affects a couple other levels of things I can't remember exactly right now, But basically, because you're getting exogenous hormones, your body says, oh, we don't need to make that anymore. And because it doesn't make that anymore, your body stops making sperm, okay? So I went and got my fertility checked, and they're like, oh yeah, you're completely infertile right now. Like, we don't have any active sperm in here. So I cycled off TRT, started taking this other stuff, and then within 2 months, got it checked again, and they're like, oh, you're good, you know? So, and then once I'd done that, my doctor said, okay, your ability to recover so quickly shows me that you can definitely continue to be on this, cycling on and off, and you'll be able to have kids, whatever. So that cleared up that for me. But yeah, it is something to be aware of, is that it affects fertility, and some people will lose their fertility forever. Like, they're not able to get it back. That's, to me, is like the scariest aspect of being on TRT. But like I said, I've done it all with doctors. I'm actually coming up, I'm going to be getting another fertility test pretty soon here and figure out what's going on there and making sure we're still all good. But yeah, basically I was like, okay, my test is naturally low. We got to get this figured out. Got on test, changed my life. I was like, yep, this is worth it, you know? And so here's the thing, TRT cost me, I think, just TRT is like $500 a month. Or no, it can't even be that. I think it's $500 for 3 months. I'm pretty sure is what it costs. And so, what is that? It's literally less than it costs if you have like a Zen habit, okay? So, to me, I mean, it's just worth it. It's changed my life. I'm not saying that if you get on TRT, it's gonna completely change your life. You're gonna do a 180, because it's not. However, it's like filling up your car with better gasoline, you know? Same thing with eating good food. So, that's my story. That's why I'm on it. I'm a fan of it. I don't think that everybody needs to be on it. I think if you can get your test levels optimally naturally, you should do that. But here's where we're at. So, banging out breakfast, we're gonna journal, and then we'll talk to you guys on the way to the gym. All right. So something I was thinking about today is a sort of personal philosophy I have in life that I've been following, almost inadvertently. You know, it was just without realizing that this is kind of a philosophy of mine. And that's that I take accountability for absolutely everything in my life. Everything. To give you an example of like how granular this goes is like, today I was messaging one of my students, and he's a new student, and he was asking me some very dumb questions. And I'm kind of getting frustrated because I'm like, dude, what do you mean you should know this? Then I realized it's my fault he doesn't know this, because more than likely I'm the base of information of, like, all of his base information about real estate comes from me. And so if he doesn't know something, it's because I haven't taught it to him. So, because I haven't made enough content around this. Everything always comes back to me, right? Now, this is just with all things in life. Like, I just take 100% accountability for exactly where I'm at in life, all of my shortcomings, and everything I do great too. It is all, it's my fault, right? And I like this philosophy because it removes any chance of me being a victim, of blaming other people, right? And I think that life is as you see it. And if I see it that I'm responsible for everything in my life, that means that I am free to change anything in my life. And that level of freedom I like, rather than thinking that, you know, I can't. Now with it, I do see some possible, you know, there's obviously going to be drawbacks, I think, in any philosophy, but the drawback here is that I could probably have the potential to, you know, really stretch myself too thin, trying to control everything. And that's something I need to be aware of, right? That's a blind spot, that's a weakness that I just need to be cognizant of and, you know, be able to recognize if it ever gets to that. But, yeah. But yeah, I mean, the point is that I think that it really helps me by just not ever blaming other people for anything. Always thinking, oh, what could I have done to avoid this? Or what could I have done better to put myself in a better position so that this wouldn't have happened, or anything. Because I think that is a way that will always cause me to continue to grow and get better and just be able to build the best possible life for myself. But on that, I made a video the other day about how most people are a lot closer to their dream lives than they think they are, right? I feel like, now this is obviously gonna be a blanket statement, but for the majority of people that are my age, I would probably say that their dream life includes them, living in like a nice apartment in some city, let's say Miami, drive a sick car, something like, a Porsche 911, Lamborghini Huracan, an entry-level Ferrari, something like that, right? I feel like that's where most people are like, oh shit, if I had that, I'd be living the dream, right? And then also they had, enough, disposable income after all of that every single month to go do the stuff they wanted to do, right? Go out to the nice dinners, go out to clubs, things like that. But I don't think most people realize how much that life actually costs. So I'm gonna break it down for you, because I did the math, right? Here's just what I'm gonna say is most people can live their absolute dream life on about $20,000 to $25,000 a month, right? Which is somewhere around like $15,000 to $20,000 a month after taxes, right? And we're only talking somewhere around like 300 grand a year, which might seem crazy, right? If you're, whatever, if you're a person who just works a regular job, you're like, dude, I don't know anybody who makes 300 grand a year, right? It's because there's not a lot of jobs that pay that much. But here's what I'm going to tell you is there are a shitload of businesses that pay that and way more even, okay? 300 grand a year, 30K a month is nowhere at all crazy in the business world, right? You've got people who are making, $1 million a month. You got people who are making $5 million a month. Right now, obviously that's like the top, but not the top, but I'm saying that's up there, right? But to get to 30K a month is nothing that crazy. Like within wholesaling, to get to 30K a month, right? Let's say that your expenses are fucking 10K a month, right? That's what you're paying for marketing, your systems and everything else, which that's a lot, right? That means that you're putting some serious dough into marketing. All you have to do is like 2 or 3 deals a month, right? And you'll have some months where you're gonna be making way more than 30 if you're doing that kind of, right? And it does not take that long once you've gotten your first deal to get to the 2 or 3 deals a month range. All it really takes is this. Number one is people need to realize that when you're trying to get your first deal, and I talked about this on earlier videos, when you're trying to get your first deal, you get paid a lot in experience rather than money, right? You get paid a lot in cold calling talents. You get paid a lot in just real estate knowledge that you're gonna learn while you're having these calls and having these conversations. And then that compounded with the money you get when you actually close your first deal is what's gonna allow you to shoot up to the point where you're doing deals consistently, right? And you're doing the 2 to 3 deals a month. Because you yourself, one guy without hiring a team, or I should say like an in-person team, like really all you need is a couple VAs. You yourself can very easily, I think it would be very realistic for somebody who's just themselves to do like 4 deals a month, 1 deal a week. I think that is realistic, with some VAs to help. But really, just to get from that point where you close your first deal to getting to the level of you're doing a couple, 2, 3 deals a month, it's really just about a couple things. Number one, having dialed in marketing, meaning you have a lead source that you can consistently get leads from and that your numbers on, meaning how many leads you need to get a deal, right? So like it's gonna vary depending on your lead source, right? If all your leads are coming from cold calling, it's gonna take a lot more leads to get that deal than it will if your leads are all coming from YouTube ads, because that's just a more high intent lead. But also YouTube leads are gonna cost way more than leads from cold calling, right? There's trade-offs there. But just knowing and having a dialed in source of marketing is number one. And number two is being a closer, right? Being the guy that when you find somebody who does need to sell their house and is willing to sell for a discount, that you get that shit locked up under contract, all right? Now this is the learning curve on this is gonna be different for different people, just depending on your inherent strengths. Your inherent EQ and your social skills and being able to read a situation. But anybody can learn how to do this with enough practice. And right, essentially it's just It's knowing how to close, right? It's when you get somebody who needs your help, you get them to take your help, right? You don't let them think about it or whatever these other things are. You just know how to handle objections, and you know how to get, contracts signed. And then the last thing is just having good quality buyers, having strong relationships with good quality buyers who are buying a lot of houses, right? And these are relationships you're only going to build by doing deals with these people, right? So once you've sold, somebody a couple deals, they're going to realize that, okay, I always make money from these guys' deals. Like, I want to buy more from this guy. And then it's like every single time you text them, they're picking that up. You call them, they're picking up that phone. Like, they're getting back to you on stuff really quickly. And with those three things, if you have a dialed-in marketing source, you're a closer, and you have a good relationship. I'm going to say if you have a good relationship with 3 buyers in one market, like, that's enough. It's where if you're doing that, or I should say probably 3 to 5 buyers, that's enough to where every single deal you're probably going to be able to sell to one of those 5 people. But once you've got that, you're going to be consistently doing deals. And at that point, like, really, that's all it takes is getting those 3 things, and you're easily going to be making $30K a month. And that's the point where you can live in the sick place, you have the sick car, and you have money to go enjoy your life, right? You can go on the vacations, you can pop bottles at the club, you can go shopping, and it doesn't matter, right? You can go buy a fucking, you can spend a couple grand on designer clothing every month if you want, or whatever it is, right? Whatever makes you happy. But that's the level you need to focus on getting to. I hear a lot of discourse on the internet, people talking about, here's how you make your first 10K a month or anything like that. Dude, 10K a month ain't shit. It's just not. Like, people can disagree with me on this, probably because you're like, I don't even make 10K a month now. But I'm telling you, the stresses and the hard work it takes to actually be an entrepreneur and a business owner, 10K a month is not worth it. I would rather make 6 or 8 grand a month and work for somebody else than be my own boss and have to make only 10K. It's just not worth it, dude. It's because it's stressful, dude. Being a business owner, it's stressful. Now, I wouldn't trade it for anything, and I could never even imagine working for somebody else ever again now at this point in my life. But I mean, it takes a lot out of you, right? There's going to be a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings, right? A lot of times when you're not exactly sure how the fuck you're going to get through this, but you just got to figure it out. And most people would rather, I think, not do that. They might say they want that, but then when they actually comes into it, they're like, oh shit, wait, this really sucks. This is real life right here, right? But if you have the stomach to be able to get through that stuff and you just have the stress tolerance, then the world is your oyster for real. I mean, at this point in my life, like, I'm just so, like, mentally tough about dealing with shit like this. Like, nothing phases me. Now, I shouldn't say nothing, but, like, the shit that used to phase me, right? All of a sudden, it's like, man, I've had times when it's like, shit, dude, like, I have to make, another $20,000 this week, or, like, I'm going out of business. Like, I've had times like that, or even worse. And it's like, all right, we got to figure this out. Right? We just got to keep moving. Instead of becoming paralyzed by the stress, I use it to fuel me. But there's just been a lot of situations I've been in that are very stressful that now I just don't sweat shit, man. Like, dude, I've had deals that I was supposed to make I remember I had a deal I was supposed to make $84,000 on. I already had the deal sold to an end buyer, everything like that. And then all of a sudden realized couldn't get the tenants out. They weren't going to leave for anything. They didn't care if I wrote them a $50,000 check. They weren't going to leave. Deal done. All right? And there was nothing I could do about it. And just $84,000 ripped from my paws, essentially. But, dude, it's just, we took it on the chin. We kept moving, bro. We went and found fucking 4 more deals to go make $80,000 on. Right? But it's just a lesson. Something you need to know is if you do want to be a high-level entrepreneur, you want to be somebody who makes a lot of money and has a great business, it's going to take some stress to get there. Anyways, what are we going to hit at the gym today? I don't know. I want to hit shoulders. I haven't been able to hit shoulders in so long, but I mean, here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to do some machine shoulder stuff, okay? So no, I'm not going to do any presses. I'm just going to do like cables and some flies and some rear delts, and I'm going to see how that feels. And if it's not working, then I guess we'll do some back. All right, we'll keep you guys posted. Oh, and obviously we're doing cardio and sauning as well. All right, what's going on, everybody? We just got back from the gym. I haven't eaten lunch yet because I'm honestly just not really feeling that hungry. So we're just gonna get straight in the calls right now. I also realized that yesterday I talked to a guy named Wayne. He's got a property in Jackson, and I was supposed to text him to tell him to send photos to my phone number, but I forgot to do that, so I just sent that text right now. So hopefully he forgives me. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's make some calls. What's up, dude? Hello, Dan.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan, my name is Tyson Smith. I was giving you a call to see if you might still be interested in selling your property over on Liberty Street.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you guys in like, I don't know what it is. I've gotten like 3,000 messages from this number alone. I originally said sure, and then they were supposed to make me an offer, and never made me an offer, and I'm over it. So no, it's not no longer for sale.
Oh, man, I'm really sorry to hear that. I was going over the notes. That's actually why I'm giving you a call. It looks like an employee that we did have working for us, but we've actually since let go, was the person you were speaking to.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
actually one of the owners of the company. That's why
people from the same number,
Yeah, yeah.
Phoenix, Arizona keeps coming back.
It,
Several different people. I've had different things. They were going to call me to this day. They were going to call me that day. Well, I just talked to a realtor. I was originally asking 160 for the house, and I just talked to a realtor. He said, Dan, the market is scarce for houses, so your number could go up. And I was just like, okay. So as of right now, I'm not looking just to unload it like that.
okay, yeah, you
I
want to go
mean,
ahead and list it on the market?
that's pretty much what I'm going to do, because I waited around for this from this number for a while, and I get like 10 different text messages a day after I just spoke to somebody. So it's just, I don't know, it's a little frustrating.
I completely
So
understand. If I were in your shoes, I'd be frustrated as well. And I do apologize. Just to give you an explanation, like I said, I've actually had to let go of this employee, and then he had a automated system sending these texts, which he wasn't supposed to do.
yeah,
And so I'm really sorry about that.
it's understandable. It's understandable. Like I said, my number is 160. If you want to come up with 160, we can make it work. If you don't want to come up with 160 and you try to come down from that number, I'm just going to put it on the market. That's completely okay with me, and that's completely, I'm sure, you can understand where I'm at with it.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
it's not just me. It's my brother and my sister involved. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I totally get it. And I think that, I mean, honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, if that's the number you want to get, I think that listing on the market is exactly what you should do, and I think you'll have no problem getting that.
Right. Okay.
All right. Well,
I
hey,
appreciate your time.
I
Yeah.
appreciate your time as well, Dan. I'm sorry about the poor experience you had.
It's all good, man.
All right. Well, best of luck to
All
you,
right.
okay?
Could whoever take my number out of this thing so I
Um,
don't continue to get all this stuff?
yep, I'm doing that right now. In fact, it's already done.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Have a good day.
Yep. All right.
Hello,
Hello, James.
speaking.
Hey, James. My name is Tyson Smith. I want to give you a quick call today to see if you might still be interested in selling that property of yours over on Joliet Road.
Yeah, I'm going to be seriously considering that.
Okay. Is it something you're seriously considering, soon, or is it something that you're looking to do a little bit in the future?
Um, well, I'm trying to figure that out. It is something I could do quite soon because I have another home I can make my primary residence again, as as soon as I need to. I would just need to figure out what to do with the things that are here at the home you're calling about. In the meantime, I don't want to move them 2,000 miles only to move them back again.
Gotcha. Okay.
Um, but other than that, if a buyer thinks the place is to his liking now and wants to do it now, I could do that. I'm qualified to exclude the capital gains, and I could use some more funds to work on the other place and so on. So,
All right. Well, is what we can do now, and you might find it helpful, James, is if you got about 5 or 10 minutes, I just have some questions I'd like to ask you about the property, and after that, I'll be able to get you an offer. So, you know what one man's willing to pay for it. Is that something you'd like to do?
yeah. What do you know about the property? Why are you interested? You're just thinking that you could get it at 50 cents on the dollar or something, or what?
I mean, that would be ideal, but no, it's just that my company is looking to pick up rental properties in this area.
Okay. And this is kind of a rural property, one of my scenarios would be to rent it out, but I don't know what the market is for, a rental property that has some land with it. I mean, it's only got an acre, but it is, especially this season, it's a lot of work to keep it mowed and so on,
Yeah. Yeah, and that can be an issue. It's why a lot of like the really big investment firms that own a whole bunch of rental properties stay away from houses like this, is because exactly like you mentioned, it does take a lot of work to maintain that much land. But that's where, companies like me, where we're just kind of a family-owned business, we are interested in properties like this.
Okay.
It's a brick property, right?
Yeah, it's a brick home. The original home was built in '68. These are my measurements. The records that are out there are not accurate. Based on the perimeter of the house, the main floor is 1,268 square feet, and then the basement is 545 square feet. So I think the numbers that are out there, it seems like they gave half credit for the basement or something. So
Yeah.
they say it's 1,500, and that's more than the house, but it's not as much as the house and the basement. But the basement is functional area. I wouldn't call it living space per se, but it it's dry. The laundry facilities are down there. The water filtration system, the furnace and air conditioning system, which is a geothermal system, all of that stuff is down there. And then I use the rest of it for storage rather than other things.
Okay. So do I take it that the basement is not finished?
It's not finished, no. It looks like a basement. It's dry and clean and all that.
Okay, that makes sense.
But it adjoins the crawl space. The rest of the living space is on the crawl space, or some of it is. So I think half of the original house apparently was basement and half was crawl space. And then there was an addition to the original house on a slab, and so the garage into the house, I guess it was about 40 by 24, the addition to the original. I don't have the exact dimensions, but the original house was like 80 by 24 or 24/8. So when the addition was done, they added a pantry area and a half bath and I guess you'd say a TV room, a family room kind of area that's set up to be a TV room. There's no windows to it, but it's in a lot of ways, the nicest space in the house.
Okay. So, have there been any cosmetic updates to either the kitchen or the bathrooms in the property?
Yeah, that, first of all, I don't know when that added space was done, but it's all, relatively modern. And the kitchen was redone by the owner prior to me. He's the one he bought it as a foreclosure. I think the guy that had lived here for a long time died, and it went into foreclosure or something like that. And anyway, so the previous owners had patios, stamped concrete patios, front and back, a fire pit. They put a hot tub out there. They redid the kitchen, new cabinets, new flooring.
Could you describe to me what the kitchen, like what the cabinet, what color are the cabinets?
Cherry.
Okay. And the appliances, are they stainless steel or are they like white or black?
They're stainless steel.
Okay. And then what kind of countertops are in the kitchen?
They're just Formica, but it's made to mimic a granite.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's Formica.
Understood. And
similar with the flooring, it's vinyl, but it mimics tile, So it's a nice look, but it's not upscale,
Understood. I'm seeing from tax records that it's a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. Is that correct?
Right. But see, you're talking about the character is totally different.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll keep this really quick. My girlfriend and she followed me here from California, and we were for a couple of years looking for a place to. We were renting. We were renting a home like you're pointing to, down in West Carmel, west side of Carmel. Anyway, we looked all over the place, and we couldn't ever agree on the home that would suit both of our needs. And within a matter of, basically about a month or so, she made a separate offer on a house, kind of like you're looking at there, and I made an offer on this one. And we're both happy with our houses. We're still friends. But I wouldn't live where she lives, and she wouldn't live where I live. And we both paid the same amount of money, basically. We both have the same house payment. and she hears her neighbors fart, and she has to be careful which driveway to pull in when she comes home because they all look alike and so on. That's not my kind of neighborhood. And she doesn't want to touch a mower. And she doesn't want to live in a place where you never know what kind of wildlife might cross your yard to get to the creek or whatever. But my dog and I do. And so I don't know how you comp those little tiny lots with that square footage jammed in there box on box, and everything's new, but you don't have any freedom to even change the color, let alone build anything extra and so on. And you better not have a vegetable garden, or you have to hide it in your little backyard and so on.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, but I mean, those properties do get higher prices.
There's a smaller segment of the market that they want a little farm type place. They want some elbow room. They want to look out across a big yard to a creek like I do, and so on.
Hey, absolutely. You're absolutely correct, James. But if you're an investor and you're looking to make money, are you going to the larger market or are you going to the smaller market?
Well, there's always room for somebody to work the niches around the edges, I think. But yeah, I get your point.
Is what I'll go ahead and do is let me I'm not going to submit this to underwriter or anything like that, but I think that it'd probably be in your best interest, if you do decide you want to sell this house, to probably speak with the realtor and get an opinion from them about what it would look like listing it. But just my best piece of advice that I'm going to give you right now is, if you're waiting for an investor, somebody who is just going to buy it from you with a quick sale that makes it easy, I just cannot see somebody offering somewhere in the $300,000 for the property. I don't see how anybody makes money doing that. Now, look, I could be wrong. There could be some mystery man out there, but I think if you do want to get that, you should speak with a realtor. And look, if you decide that, hey, maybe doing that stuff isn't worth it and you don't want to have to deal with the showings and the commissions and things like that, this is my number. Give me a call, and I know that we can get you the best price that an investor is going to get you for it, okay?
Okay, before you go, based on what I've told you about this property, and especially the bath renovation and the cosmetic things inside and all that, what are you thinking somebody needs to spend on this to to fix up things to market it better?
I think that if you wanted to sell this property for $400,000, it would cost you about $35 a square foot. So it's going to be somewhere around 50 grand.
Okay. That's not unrealistic or anything. I would agree that I could spend as much as that. Yeah.
I mean, look, if you do it yourself, it'll cost you way less. But I'm talking about using licensed and bonded contractors, and how the way that we would do it, running as a business. But you could absolutely get away with doing less if you were going to go do the work yourself.
That's fair. So, all right. Well, I don't see barring something unforeseen, I don't see that I would get to the point that I'd want to sacrifice as much as I'd have to deal with you, but you know, something could happen. You know, it could be that if you were willing to get to the very low threes, or, you know, barely touch 3, I could see that is not something that I feel like
You know, I wish there was a way. I wish there was a way we could, but I mean, look, I just based on what I'm seeing and based on what I know about this market, it's not going to happen. We would lose money at that price.
I don't know how somebody sold that one on 32 for, what was it, 380 or something like that.
No, the one on 32 that we were talking about earlier, that one sold for 275.
275. Okay.
Yeah. Now look, I think your house is you're absolutely right. It's right there on 32. That is going to take a massive hit on value. Like I'm not saying that I think that that's what your house is worth, but it is something that people are going to look at.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to get a handle on, you know, the proper way to assess that. My proximity to 32, and does that mean a $20,000 hit or a $120,000 hit? You know, I don't know.
It depends market to market. I can tell you that being on that street is going to be anywhere between 15 and 20% that you'll take the hit. But where you do come off of it, you know, a substantial bit, that's another story. And again, that just ranges so much market to market. But like, you know, it's going to be different for you that is down there versus the other houses that we're talking about that are much further. Those other houses that are past 166th Street, you know, on the other side of that river, that sold in the 400s. Like, you know, it's tough to compare your houses to them because of the proximity. Where it's like, hey, you're not going to get hit as hard as that other house that's on 32nd did, but you're not going to enjoy the same benefits that those properties get from being so far away. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I understand that, and that's why I'm seeing those as the comps that I just need to figure out how to adjust from. But I know it's a significant adjustment, but I just don't see it as anything like being on 32. On 32, I think you have to evaluate any house on 32 as like, how long can it be a house, okay? And then it has to be torn down. That's really the scenario there. I wouldn't even want to stay at a motel that is right on that road, you know? But, yeah. Okay, well, I appreciate the your willingness to discuss it with me, be upfront about things and so on. Give me your name again.
Yeah, it's Tyson Smith.
Okay, and then I see your Arizona phone number.
Yep.
Is that really where you're calling from?
Yeah, we're headquartered in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay. Okay, I'll think about our discussion, and most likely I'll try to figure out how to do those improvements and get this place listed where I can walk away.
If you need any help with that, you know, feel free to give me a call. I'd be more than happy to advise and just let you know what I know.
So, are you buying all over the country, or?
Not all over, just in specific markets.
Okay. Are you buying houses in California?
We do. But in California, it's we don't hold rentals in California.
I can understand that.
Yeah, that guy Newsom you were talking about, he's quite a nuisance.
Yeah. Yeah, my place out there is in a neighborhood that's golden. But they're all empty nesters. They're my age, and nothing in there ever comes available. But as a few of them kick the bucket and so on, who knows what's going to happen to that lovely neighborhood? You know.
Yeah.
But. Yeah. Okay. I have one quick question. I'll make this very quick. What has been a stumbling block on the California house when I've been close with a couple of parties is an old HELOC.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know who may at some point come forward and say, I hold the document that means you owe me a bunch of money.
So
I know that who go ahead.
So did you try and sell the house, and at title they discovered a HELOC that you don't know about?
No, I knew about it. I got it way back in 2005.
Okay.
And the last contact I had with anybody associated with a lending institution regarding that was over 10 years ago, maybe 13, 14 years ago. No assignment has been recorded. The research I've done on the entity that went out of business is that they had a partial sale of assets. So nobody's ever called me, written me, emailed me, stuck a note on the door, whatever, in all of those years. And 4 different title searches have been done, and all they bring up is the original creation of it. And so question number 1, and I'm not saying you know the answer to this, but I'd appreciate a reference if you know who could give me the answer. Is in a case like that, is the recovery limited to the lien amount, or can they add all those years of interest? In other words, in this case, is this just a $40,000 problem? Or is it $100,000 plus problem? Are they capped at the lien amount? Because then I can approach them and negotiate. If somebody's going to get $40,000 12 years from now, and I say, well, what would you take today? That's not too big it's not a deal killer.
Right. On your question of whether there's going to be interest, I don't know exactly to tell you. The person who would know is probably a really good escrow officer, like a title company who's dealt with some things like this before, because I'm sure it's happened where some lending institution gets bought out, assets go to another person, and they don't... Hey, can you still hear me?
Yes, I do.
I think my phone went out. But I'm sure it's happened before. But I would think that a title person in California who's very experienced would be the person who would know the answer to that. But I do not. I don't.
I'll try to have conversations with some of them and get to whoever they would seek advice from or whatever. But I'm thinking it's a cash flow property for me, and in 12 years when the date of maturity comes, I'll deal with it then if I'm still alive. Because I think there's a pretty good chance. And a lot of people I have talked to said this could be one that falls through the cracks. And I think I can't. And so the question is it zero is it 40,000 12 years from now, or is it 100,000 plus?
I don't think that they're going to be able to, if they haven't, nobody's reached out to you or showed you any way to pay. I don't think that they'd be able to do that, but who knows? There are some screwed up things that happen.
Yeah, well, I would hope that if anybody can recover, and, you know, somebody says, I'm the vulture who paid a penny for this, but I'm going to collect the lien amount. I hope it wouldn't be the lien amount times 3.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
You know.
That would suck.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, I appreciate you hearing me out on that.
Of course.
I'll keep your contact information, and maybe we'll talk again.
All right. Sounds good. I appreciate your time, James.
All right, same here. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. 59 minutes, 20 seconds. That's the longest phone call I've had in a very long time. However, at first I thought it was a huge waste of time, but now, looking back on it, he's not sure what the fuck he's going to do. And if he does sell that house to an investor, it's going to be me.